Hi there, this is Kyle. We're coming from Progressive Suspension's R&D department, and we're going to be installing a Monotube cartridge kit here on a late model bagger. We also offer the fork Monotube kits for 2000 and newer Softails, most 2004 and newer Sportster models, 2008 and newer Tri-Glides, as well as 1984 and newer bagger models. This kit requires us to remove the fork legs as well as remove all the internal parts in the stock fork legs. We're going to start by lifting the bike up on the lift and unweighting the front tire to be able to remove the fork legs themselves. This kit requires that the stock fork legs be pulled off the bike, and we're going to replace all the internals in these stock fork legs. It's going to require us to pull the front fender, the front wheel, as well as the brake calipers, and then the stock fork legs off the bike. We recommend consulting your Harley-Davidson owner's manual, as well as I've provided instructions to this kit. And if you're uncomfortable with this level of work, we ask that you take this to your local V-twin dealer to have this work done. This is our late model Monotube stock height kit that we're going to be installing. It comes with our two Monotube kits with progressive rate springs, our two bottom out springs, our preload clips, as well as one supplied bottoming cup that's used for a 2002 through 2005 FLHT and FLT. We're going to be using on our forks the stock bottoming cups. Before we install our Monotube kit, we need to take off the black plastic protective tubing, and the easiest way is just to compress down on the spring a little bit to be able to take out the tubing prior to installing. For 2002 through 2005 FLT and FLHT, it uses a left side cartridge kit. Please refer back to our instruction sheets for this unique disassembly on this fork. Now that we have the fork legs off the bike, we're actually going to loosen up the 6mm bolt on the bottom side of the dampening rod. By doing this, it's going to help us to be able to get this bolt out prior to disassembly. Once we've loosened that up just a little bit, we're actually going to move up to the top cap. And by this top cap, we're actually going to screw this off, but we're going to keep pressure on this while we screw this off to make sure that we don't have this pop off and can actually have a potential of injury with this because it is under a spring load. So we'll go ahead and start that now. Once we got the fork cap off, fully pull out the spring and let's drain the oil out of the fork leg completely before reassembly. With the fork leg fully compressed, we're going to remove the 6mm Allen to be able to remove the dampening rod. Take this out, let the oil drain out, turn the fork side upside down to be able to get the rest of the components out. Next, we're going to install the black preload clips. This is going to go in between the spring and the Monotube itself. We recommend using two preload clips for your average Harley rider. That's 170 to 200 pounds. If you're heavier than this, you can actually go up to 3 clips. And if you're on the lighter side of this, you can actually install just 1 clip. Next, we're going to put the supplied bottoming spring on the bottom side of our Monotube kit. After a thorough cleaning of our stock fork leg, we're going to drop in our Monotube kit, making sure that our stock bottoming cup is centered aligned with the Monotube kit while we slide this in. At this time, we're going to pull the slider up to the Monotube threads and try to get a few of the first threads to be able to catch. This is going to help us to be able to put it in the dampening rod bolt. Once we get the few threads tightened onto this, we're actually going to turn the fork upside down and put the 6mm Allen bolt in the bottom side of the Monotube. We're going to put a drop of red Loctite on top of the retaining bolt. We're going to place this inside the Monotube, and we're going to tighten these up to a factory spec of 11 to 18 foot-pounds of torque. Sometimes, while trying to torque the actual bolt itself, you can feel the Monotube spinning. At this time, if you feel the Monotube system spinning inside of the fork, turn the fork upside down, putting pressure onto the top cap to be able to get your correct torque specs. This is a closed loop system, but it does require oil for lubrication. We recommend 5 ounces of fork oil at a 10 weight. When you fill this up, we are going to want to stroke this just a little bit to pump the oil through the fork leg prior to full assembly. Once the proper amount of fluid is added into the fork assembly, slide the inner fork tube up to install the fork cap. Torque the fork cap to the factory specs of 50 to 60 foot-pounds of torque. Now that we're done installing the Monotube kit and our stock fork legs, we're going to reinstall these fork legs back into our bike and our front wheel, brake calipers, and front fender. We're going to tighten these back up to factory torque specs, and for those, go back into your factory manual to be able to get those torque specs in reference to that.